Welcome to the Outside the Business Boxes podcast, where we're talking about how to ignite your business today for the future using systems for everything you do in your business to make your life, your employees' lives, and your customers' lives easier for you to ultimately enjoy your business and, of course, make more money. I'm your host, Chad Murray. Welcome to Outside the Business Box podcast. I am Chad Murray, your host. Today we have a very special guest and a great topic. Training your competitors and why do you care? So here's the thing. Why do you care about training your competitors? Because all you need to do is care about you. And we're going to discuss this today. Our special guest is someone that is very dear to me. I've known him my whole life. This guy can be the sweetest guy. He can be a complete asshole at times. He's emotional. He's friendly. He's humble. He built a great business in Denton, Texas about 26 years ago. It's been up and downs. The guy's just, the guy's a rock star in his own mind and hopefully trying to get it out there for everybody else's. And the one thing about this guy, he just never stops. The guy never stops. I mean, I literally sit up at night every night wondering, why can this guy not stop? He just keeps going. And, and hopefully with this guy coming out into the industry, of the chimney world and helping other entrepreneurs, that this guy can show value to everybody. I think he's doing a pretty good job. And I do think that some other people have noticed. And, I'm going to do everything I can to support this guy. This Chad Murray with Master Services. He's just, he's one of those people that will help you when you need it. If you're down, you can give him a call. And I love him. I think he's just a great inspiration, to everyone once you get to know him. So without further ado, let's talk with Chad. Well, we're sitting here with Chad Murray with Master Services. How are you doing, Chad? I'm doing good. Nice to meet you, Chad. It's not, finally we get to talk and have a good conversation. It's, I've heard some good things about you. Okay, let's stop the shenanigans. Okay, everybody. So my topic today is all about, everybody's always concerned about training their competitors. What are you doing, when you're offering and spending all this money on these employees, and some of them just go out and they go and start their own business. You've trained your competition. You're putting them in business. So the first thing I want to talk about with this issue is, who gives a shit? I mean, you be you. I'll just tell you this straight out. Do not hamper your own business and your own mindset to worry about what everyone underneath you is ever going to go out and do. Because if you're like me, yeah, it pisses you off. Sure it does. But if you're like me, you know in your heart, your soul, they're not you. Think about that. They're not you. And when they're not you, they're just never going to get as successful as you are. I don't know very many companies that have had the success that they have, had people that start up their own business from them and then become bigger than the company that trained them. There might be some exceptions out there. I don't know of any. And so I'm going to tell you some of my stories of some of my my competition that I've trained that now we even have what I call grandbabies that have done it to them. Oh, there goes my email thing. Anyway, so the funny thing about it is as I tell you this stuff and tell you these stories, I probably have maybe 8 that I can think of and know of people that have gone into business for themselves that are working for me. I only know of 3 of them that are still in business. 2, actually, only 2. Here's the difference. If you know me and my company, where we were at even 5 years ago and where we are today is we're growing, we're constantly changing, evolving, getting better. And of course, in the last year, we've really ramped it up. all these other guys, they're exactly who I was. Snapshot the day they quit Master Services. They're still that company today. They're not certified. They're not spending money on their employees. And guess what? When you talk about building your company, when you start giving back to your community, giving back to your employees, and making everything available to grow with you as at the helm of that, your company grows. That's what I keep telling everybody. What is the difference between a $1 million company and a $4 million company? What's the difference between a $5 million and a $10 million? It isn't art. I mean, there might be a little bit of marketing, a little bit of that, a little bit more, but I can guarantee you, I don't spend that much more marketing advertising to get to 5 million than what a guy does to get to 2 million. So what's the difference? It's you. It's you, your culture, your advancement, and what you're doing. So let me tell you some of my stories. So we had a gentleman. They are still in business today. That started his own business. But let me tell you the story. Of course, I won't name names or anything, and probably never hear my podcast because they're not involved. And if they ever get involved, good. I'll welcome you in. I talk to these people, or maybe I'm friendly with the first company I'm friendly with now. But here we go. So I hire this guy on. I mean, this is 15 years ago. I hire him on to actually run my a nighttime cold calling, people on the phone. We were just randomly dialing, got a call list, and we were just trying to find people appointments. And this guy was a rock star on the phone. I mean, we had like 4 people first night show up for the job, trained him how to do the phones. The next night they were on the phones, and this guy made like 5 appointments. Everybody else, I think out of the other 3 people, I think they made 2 appointments. This guy, and he was constantly doing it. Well, as you know, calling on the phone, that's a hard life. So we didn't do that very often. So we put the guy in the call center. And so the guy was great on the phone. And so he's doing the call center for, I don't know, maybe a year. I mean, we got to know him really good. And he personally, we got a little involved with our employees than we probably shouldn't have, over for cookouts and, would watch our house and we'd go out, and stuff. We'd do favors for him too. And, we really bring a family atmosphere, a little, we're not quite that much like that anymore, but I'm not afraid to have, a couple guys over for a beer if we're, having it, for a company thing. And so, like I'm taking everybody out. We're doing rope training. I'm taking everybody out to dinner every night after the rope training and stuff. I'm buying them everybody beers and stuff, and having a good time and talking about our culture. But anyway, so this guy becomes pretty intimate with us, and seems to be a good guy, and he's really not a bad guy. But I mean, we then are looking for guys out in the field one day to find new sales guys, which we call educators. And he goes, "Hey, I want to go out in the field. I want to climb roofs." And he didn't look like a roof climber. I mean, the guy was really GQ, dressed really nice, and he goes, "But I can do it. I want the opportunity to make more money and blah, blah, blah." Well, first lesson is don't train every aspect of your business to one person, because now you just set them up. Bad choice I did back then, but I'm a good person. I wanted to advance my company with him. He was, on the right path to helping us out. And so we're like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Fast forward, as you can imagine what happened about a year later. I'm going to back up a little bit. So this was like in 2008, I believe, when the market was crashing. We had a really bad summer. But before we had the bad summer, so this is bad choices of me. This is a story that involves a little bit. I learned my lesson on this. There's a couple lessons here that I learned. So we had already bought a Disney World trip in August, right before school started. We had done that. We had saved up for like 2 years and bought this dream vacation to go there in August. Well, we were losing money. We were getting our ass kicked by sales at the time. And we had such a bad summer, I'd asked a couple guys if they wanted to take a non-paid leave for maybe 2 weeks or something, and a couple guys, and this gentleman was one of them. They absolutely no problem. They had no problem taking the time off. They come a little bit, and so I kind of learned my lesson that you need to build a company where you don't have to do that, and that was it was really the first and only time I ever did it. Fast forward to later, I have a conversation with this gentleman after we had made up. I'm fast forwarding after I tell you the rest of the story. We had made up, and he said, I said, well, what could I have done better? And he said, that was a pretty dick move to have us take time off, and then you go off to Disney World. Of course, it was the timing. It did, from an employee standpoint, it did kind of look like a bad thing to do. But that's life. I made mistakes. I'm not a perfect business owner, and I learned that'll never happen again, and I'll always have my money to where that'll never happen. So let's go back to train the guy. Guy's good out in the field. One day he gives us his 2 weeks notice and says that he's gotten a job to go work for a big box retailer selling like insulation. And we're like, okay, that seems really weird. It just didn't do it. So what do? We throw a big party, a going away party. He's all into it. We really, whatever. We did everything we could do. He goes away, and I'm still contacting him, talking to him. And I don't know, about a week after he's been gone, and I've been talking to him every day, even while he was gone, my wife sees his Facebook page and his website that he started up a chimney company. And not only did he start a chimney company, he started it exactly like mine. Building his own chimney caps, went down to Houston, stole one of my guys in Houston to start up that business. It's like, really? He totally planned. Tries to tell me that oh no, I came up with this after I didn't like the insulation business, and you guys know that's bullshit. Total crock. The guy planned it out. You can't build a website and have your Facebook all in like 2 days. Total, snaked me completely. I bought into snake oil. I trained this guy how to be my competitor. And it is what it is. So fast forward, a couple years later, I hadn't talked to them. Guys on my hit list, I'm just I'm doing anything I can. So I'll just tell you something funny that I did do. He named his business something. So what I did, and this is, okay, it's kind of a dick move on my part, but this is what I did back then. I'm just giving you my story. So I made a business almost exactly like him online and stuck it out there to have a second business that I had someone else I know own it, so I didn't own it. I spent money on this. This is how upset I was at the time. And I literally had, I bought a location in Dallas and Houston. We're spending money here. I'm starting a sister business just to be almost exactly like him, to compete with him. And you can still find that business out there. We don't advertise it anymore, and we did close it down on Facebook and stuff a few years later. But I did it. Hey, I didn't do anything illegal. I did it to mess back with him, and no, nothing wrong with that. Would I do that today again? No, I was stupid back then, and I have a little twinge in me back then that if you mess with me, I'm gonna come at you, which is I kind of still have that a little bit. I'm not trying to be a big ass guy, I'm gonna do that. Nah, that's not it. That's just who I was back then. I'm not that guy anymore, and now I would just laugh it off and keep being me. But that's who I was 15 years ago. And so maybe it's a good thing I wasn't in the industry back then, because you wouldn't like me now, who I am now versus I was then back then. But I kept to my own stuff, and this guy then duplicates me exactly. So fast forward, I dropped my wife off at Target one day, and she just needed to run in real quick to grab a couple things. It was going to be like a 10-minute run in and run out. So I stayed in the car. And like you always do, you grab your phone and you're just seeing if new competitors, just seeing where everybody's rankings are, on your phone. And I see this new company. Looks exactly like me. The caps, the lingo, the logo was close. And I was just like, who is this? So I decide to call up the gentleman that had copy me, and then we were talking. By the way, now, not much. We'd kind of made our peace with the situation, and this is probably like 8 or 9 years later. So I mean, but we had made our peace, but not a whole bunch of conversations. So, but anyway, so I call him up and I go, "Who's blank blank?" And this is the honest to God truth. He tells me this story first. He goes, "Chad, I got to tell you something." I'm like, "Okay, what?" For 2 years after we started our company, his company, I swear to God, I walked around every corner thinking you were standing there with a shotgun. And I was like, bingo, that's the best feeling I ever had. And not because I would ever do that, that's stupid. But I just felt like I had got a little vindication that this guy knew he was doing wrong. He knew he was being a snake, and that he actually had those thoughts. And he's like, it's so nice that I get to talk to you now, knowing that you're not going to be behind the next corner. And I'm like, that's a hard way to live. So, I mean, of course, I would never do that. But, hey, just the idea that I knew that he felt like that, I was like, okay, fine. And I laughed and kind of smirked. So, but it was funny. But so I said, who's this new guy? Who's this new company? He looks just like me. And he goes, yeah, I know. This guy, I train him. This is now my first guy that went off and did his own, saying this when I'm saying. Can you believe this guy? He went out. I trained this guy. I mean, can you believe the nerve of this guy? He goes out and starts his own company after I trained him. And he goes on and on for about 3 or 4 minutes. And I am sitting there like stunned. And he's not like sharking me or punking me. He's literally talking from the heart going, I cannot believe this guy did this to me. And I sat in utter amazement, disbelief that he's actually telling me this. And so he gets done and I go, yeah, can you believe people? I said, I got to go. My wife's coming. I got to go. And I hung up. I get in there and my wife doesn't share the same didn't share the same forgiveness. And so she was like, when I told her the shotgun story, she's like, I wish she'd never talked to him again. So he lived his whole life thinking that. But yeah. But here's the thing. If I look at this guy's business every day, all the time, by the way, my grandbaby business, that he's out of business already. At least he's not in the Dallas, Fort Worth area. I don't see him around. But when I look at the same competitor that I told you about, he's exactly who I was back in 2008. Done nothing. I mean, his sales might be okay. He might be making a living, but he's certainly not growing like we do. I mean, not even close to being a competitor of mine. I mean, he's out there, but same thing. I mean, there's nothing to it. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a lot. I'm kind of getting it out there, telling you a little bit about me, and I've grown as a person. I've learned I don't care. I mean, if you want to go do it, I'm not going to endorse you or help you, but I'm going to be me. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to stick my head straight in my tunnel and let my vision be what I'm going to do. And that's what I do. And that's how we've done really well with Masters and kept going on and going from there. So let me tell you another story. So we had a whole sales team of 4 guys in Dallas. This was about right after I retired. So we're talking probably 2016. They were okay. I mean, their SBOs were probably around 600-700, which isn't great, but we were making a living at the time and making money. And one guy, I think, was up to like a 1,200 SPO, sales per opportunity. So, it was okay. We're doing all right. And these guys, I was training these guys, and we ended up. I ended up finding out because what was happening is the GPSs weren't working on the trucks at night. Just at night. During the day, it worked fine. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on here? And so I then start noticing during the day they start coming off and on. So we're like, and we're not talking only the sales guys. We're not talking about the techs. We're talking about only the educators, going out and doing inspections and estimates. Like, all of a sudden, a 2-hour period in the middle of the day, the truck's off. And the GPS isn't working. It's happening with all 4 trucks. It's like, okay, 1 truck, okay. Because we would make a call like, hey, what's wrong with your GPS? Make sure GPS. And we actually did go through the process of trusting everybody and getting them all new GPSs. Well, greed is greed. They kept doing it. And what were they doing? Well, in between their appointments, they all formed their own company with my social media girl. And I find out, I don't even know how, the GPS was the first clue. I mean, they're all just turning off. And so we're looking on the websites, trying to find anything new, any new chimney company, or out on the Google searches, and we find this company that looks similar to mine. And I have a friend call up, and sure enough, it's one of my sales guys, acting like being this new company, not acting. He was this new company. So what did I do? Okay, all right, I'm on to you. And they made a mistake. They ended up saying that a person from their phone center would call them. Well, so I had my guy, leave the number, and of course, who calls is my social media girl to make the appointment. I'm like, okay, now I've got 5 people involved, and it's all pretty much like a big part of the biggest part of my company at the time. All 4 salesmen and my social media girl. I mean, you want to talk about holy shit? This is what's happening to me now. This is what, 5 years ago only, 5 or 6 years ago. And so, what do? So I go in after hours one night and call my lawyer. What can I do? Well, how can I handle this? No, I'm sorry. So I go in work first. I go into work, and my social media girl's computer is on, and I touch it. I just touch the mouse. Comes right up to her email. Work email that she had added, what a dummy, added their new company's email to her work computer. And as I touched it, it's their email that I'm looking at right there. And she's talking back and forth, emailing between these guys their new logo from work computer. I'm like, call my lawyer up right there and then. I'm like, this is what I got. I'm at work on my computer. I touched her computer. No password was necessary. I wouldn't even known their password at the time. It came right up, and we get into the electronic stuff. She says, okay, well, I mean, all you can really do, I'm not giving legal advice. She's just advised. Her advice was just see what you can do. If it's anything personal on hers, I would kind of stop at what you're doing. And so I just was like, okay, I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to leave it as it is. I already see what they're doing. I stopped at what I was doing, so I didn't want to do anything. So what do I do now? I come up with a plan that I'm going to follow. I'm going to set up an appointment with these guys, with someone I know, have them come out. We're going to film it. And so one of my best friends, we get his sister-in-law involved, and it was great. We bought our camera to wear. We're all undercover, type of stuff. Guy shows up in the middle of the day with my van, which it was a new van, hadn't been lettered up yet. 98 degrees out. 98 degrees. Puts on a black big jacket because he's covering up my uniform. Doesn't even have to put a light jacket. Puts on this hot jacket. Comes, she meets him outside and we see him the jacket on. Does a full estimate, all this kind of stuff. And so we see what's going on. So we got ya. We see what's going on. And it is what it is. I'm not really. I'm just trying to get my proof of what I'm going to do. So I'm thinking, okay, I can't fire these guys, even though they're starting their own company, because I don't want them to get to workman's comp. So what do? I want to get rid of these guys, but I don't want to give them workman's comp while they go start up their own business. So cut. I'm cutting this. They're right here. Not workman's comp and editing. I know I'm saying comp. Unemployment, you dummy. Chad, it's unemployment. Oh, okay. So if I say comp in the future on this, I mean unemployment. I don't want to pay these guys unemployment for firing them. Aha. I know these guys' ego. We had actually a meeting the next day. So I call up my general manager, John, and I say, okay, tell these guys we're tracking time and they have to clock in and out on their tablets. so that we see the time. We're just going to track time. And I knew that their ego would be, we're outside exempt, outside sales exempt. We don't need to clock in and clock out. And I'm like, and of course the law is you don't have to, but if the company policy is you do, I can make you clock in and out all you want. It is what it is, And so, I mean, do your own laws, whatever you want to do in your own state. But in my state, that's what I can do. And so what I did is I knew that my company, and we were busy, by the way. We were busy. All 4 guys had a full 3 to 5, 7 appointments a day for estimates, And so my plan is that we're going to introduce this in the morning meeting. I knew it wasn't going to go over well. And I was going to just ask for the resignation. And I was going to get up early, shower, get ready to go up to the shop. And I was going to wait for the phone call with John in the meeting saying these guys are all quitting. And I didn't let him in on it that I wanted them to. I just tell him we're going to do this. He calls up and I go and literally says these guys are going to quit. I said, put me on speaker. I said, guys, time tracking is my option. You're right. I don't legally have to do it, but I want to do it. So I'm going to put, you guys got to clock in and out every day. I don't know where everything's going. And they all go, well, then we're going to quit. And I said, well, I expect your resignations on John's desk. I'll be up there in 10 minutes. I live 10 minutes away. Sure enough, on the way, John calls me. I got 4 resignations. And we didn't let him know that we knew about the social media girl in on it. So I got up there and they all are right at my door as I'm parking. Like, we don't want to quit. And I just said, get off my property or I'm calling the popo. Get out now. I said, don't go to your trucks. You get off my property. We will inventory your trucks and you can come back in 24 hours. Can we get paid now? I said, you guys just quit. I'll pay you when I goddamn well want to on on payroll time. You'll get paid when payroll comes out. You quit. I didn't fire you. You quit. Now get off my property. And they all walked right away. They walked off into the sunset. So started their own business, failed together miserably. I don't even want to. Oh, by the way, social media girl stayed around all day trying to get all the information. Walked in the next day, John's desk, her resignation that she quit. Whatever, go away. They started up their own company. 3 months later, they're done. 2 of them start up their own company. 1 goes out of business, and the other one's still in business now to this day, doing exactly what I used to do in 2016. No more advancing. I have no idea much. I mean, I don't even, he may not even be in business. I have no idea. Don't even care. And so, I'm just telling you what's going on. That's how I've handled some stuff. So the main thing is I tell you these stories. Be you. Train everyone. And if they go off into the sunset, adios, amigos. It just does not matter. It does not matter. You be you. You get your company going and you keep your good culture. You give your good opportunity advancement training. You give everybody the life that they couldn't have if they worked anywhere else. And they'll stay. And the ones that leave, adios, muchacho. Good luck. Because they're not you. You are you, and you are awesome. So, that's my stories. I have more, but I think for the time casting, that's enough reveal of my wicked side, I guess. And so, I don't know. I don't wish upon anyone, bad at all, but again, I don't want to train my competitors either. So I just try to make it as good as possible now. If they go off in the sunset, I'm not going to worry about what you're doing. And that's just the model that I'm going to do. So everybody who's like, I can't find good employees, and when I do this, and that, hey, welcome to life, brother. Stop your bitching, be better for you, and just make your business the best it can be. And that's how I'm going to end the podcast. So, Chad, that was good. Thanks. Well, thanks for coming on, Chad. That was very insightful, and I didn't know you're kind of an asshole at times, but okay. And so, but, at least, I love you. I love you too, man. Keep being real. I always will. Guys, thanks for that comical routine and have a good day. Be you. That's my last thing I can say to you. Because you are your company. And it will keep going as long as you keep letting it do it. So, have a great day, guys.